explain this product positioning exercise, soft drinks. So we have a company that manufactures and markets soft drinks with the brand name Ala, and has made a market research and found that customers choose soft drinks mainly based on the bubbles levels and in the sweetness level. There are also three more competitors, Bingo, Cinder, and Inter. And here we have in these two columns the scores of each of the brands in the market in bubbles and sweetness in a scale from 0 to 10. Also, the market research has shown that there are like two segments of consumers. One for whom the ideal brand has these scores, and another one for whom the ideal brand has these other scores. The first one is 1/3 of the total market, and the second one is 2/3 of the total market. So probably the first segment could be like children, and the second segment could be, for example, adults. So we have to draw a positioning map and also estimate the market share of each of the brands, assuming that this market share is proportional to the inverse distance to the ideal drink, which is quite reasonable because consumers usually choose the brand that is closest to the ideal brand, and the market share of the rest of the brands are proportional to this distance. Okay, so now I'm going to explain the solution with an Excel sheet. So let me see, because I want to share another screen. I'm doing this with Microsoft Teams because I did that before with Zoom, but for some reason I cannot open the recording. And now I'm trying to share another screen. Okay, I will do with this screen. Okay, first, the positioning map. So we have here the different brands, and what we have done is just in the horizontal axis to draw the bubbles, and in the vertical axis draw the sweetness and each of the brands, including the ideal brands, with the coordinates in bubbles and sweetness. So for example, Cinder has 7 and 6 here that come from these numbers here. Okay, then second, estimate the market share of each brand, assuming it is proportional to the inverse distance to the ideal drink. Okay, so we have here all the data, the brands, the ideal brands, the scores. So let's compute first the distance to each of the, from each of the brands to each of the ideal brands, ideal brand 1 and ideal brand 2, using this distance. So we take the difference in the coordinates, we square that, and we take, we sum the coordinates for the two dimensions, and then we take the square root. So the distance for the brand Ala is this to the ideal brand 1. This will be to the ideal brand 2. And the same for Bingo, Cinder, and Inter. Okay. So we have here the distances to each of the ideal brands. Then we compute the inverse distances just as 1 divided by the distance, and we have those. And then to compute the shares first in each of the segments, what we do is we divide the inverse distance of each of the brands by the sum of all the distances. So here 0.14 is 0.35 divided by 256. So this is for segment 1. We do the same for segment 2. So this will be the market shares of each of the brands in each of the segments. And then for the total market share that we do is we multiply the market shares in each of the segments by the weights, and then we sum that for all the segments, and we got this. Okay, so I hope this helps. Bye bye.